Are useful distributed ledger technology experiments in developing nations being stifled by the international financing institution, or is cryptocurrency being saved from itself? Welcome to CryptoLink channel. If you love getting news and updates about cryptocurrency, join our community by subscribing to our channel. You can tap the bell icon to never miss our new videos. If you enjoy our channel, kindly like and share it with your friends. October 28, 2022. Cointelegraph posted a tweet indicating, "What is it with the International Monetary Fund and crypto?" The International Monetary Fund or IMF claims to be anti-crypto, but is this true? Many people in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industries agree. The IMF requested that El Salvador stop accepting Bitcoin as legal currency in January. It reportedly forced Argentina to constrain cryptocurrency trading as a condition for an IMF loan extension in May, and it recently cautioned the Marshall Islands that granting a virtual currency the legal tender status might also endanger both financial integrity as well as macroeconomic and financial stability. ProChain Capital's president and co-founder, David Tall, stated, "I do believe that the International Monetary Fund is a persistent enemy of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin and other digital currencies have the potential to be used everywhere because they are international and issued by non-state organizations, which might drastically reduce the need for the IMF." The Human Rights Foundation's Alex Gladstein, chief strategic officer, stated to Politico in June that Bitcoin is in opposition to everything the IMF advocates. It's outside funding that these alphabet soup entities have no control over, while Dan Held of Kraken tweeted, "The International Monetary Fund is evil," in reaction to the reported conduct of the IMF in Argentina. Although others think that this international lending organization, which provides loans to over 190 nations and has frequently drawn criticism in the developing world, might have a more complex perspective on cryptocurrency. A perceptive approach to cryptocurrencies. The IMF appeared to have no issue with the presence or even growth of non-governmental virtual currencies in a September report titled Regulating Crypto. As a matter of fact, it urged the creation of a global regulatory framework for cryptos in order to stabilize the markets and create a safe environment for valuable innovation to proceed. The IMF has a pretty open mindset when it comes to cryptocurrencies. According to John Kiff, General Director of the CBDC think tank and a veteran financial sector specialist at the IMF until 2021, especially if one ignores some of the most recent instances mentioned earlier. He also said that the Marshall Islands as well as El Salvador governments adopted cryptocurrencies as legal money after their account unit currencies had already gained considerable traction. These unfavorable opinions were primarily concerned with the macroeconomic effects of governments tying their financial plans to cryptocurrency. In an interview with Cointelegraph, a senior director of the Geoeconomics Center at the Atlantic Council, Josh Lipsky, stated that institutionally, it is clear that the IMF is suspicious of cryptocurrencies and that it harshly penalized El Salvador. The IMF, however, was concerned about the economy of that country's financial vulnerabilities. If El Salvador stops paying its foreign debt, the IMF will be required to bail them out. Lipsky, who had previously worked as an IMF advisor and Christine Lagarde's speechwriter, stated, "Argentina has implemented more than 20 lending programs through the years, so it can't really return to the International Monetary Fund and renegotiate its debts when it is simultaneously experimenting cryptocurrency." According to reports, the mayor of Buenos Aires, a supporter of cryptocurrencies, is working on proposals that would let citizens of the city settle their municipal taxes with cryptocurrencies. Lipsky commented that it raised some eyebrows at the IMF. Even Tall admitted that the IMF had a right to impose austerity policies, tax increases, or the elimination of government subsidies when they are not feasible economically. The IMF will utilize its lending power to influence policy decisions if a country has poor policies that would make it permanently dependent on the IMF's support. Risk money laundering. The IMF's Young Sarah Joe noted threats to anti-money laundering and the fight against terrorism financing in relation with the Marshall Islands proposal to adopt an SOV or sovereign digital currency, as a second legal tender. However, Simon Lelyveld, a regulatory advisor for payments and blockchain based in the Netherlands, wasn't entirely certain that this was the IMF's major concern. Although cash in the bank could also be utilized as a tool for laundering money, the IMF as well as other intergovernmental entities, such as the Financial Action Task Force, are more concerned about the ungoverned aspect of cryptocurrencies. He stated to Cointelegraph that occasionally, governments throughout the developing world feel mistreated by IMF policy choices as well as neoliberal ideologies and are tempted to break free of the IMF's control by using alternative legal tender. However, such actions inevitably trigger responses from institutions which are scared of losing their control. A mishandled case. In September 2021, El Salvador became the first nation in the world to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as legal currency. El Salvador was indeed a terrible example to use, Lipsky said. What happened? There were numerous mistakes made, but if I had to choose one, it would be the hasty nature of it. There was only a 2-page, paper-thin explanation of how Bitcoin will operate. According to one critic, the Bitcoin law was pushed through El Salvador's legislature and instantly implemented, instead of adopting an experimental strategy that involved modest pilots and independent risk evaluations. In Lipsky's opinion, the IMF's skepticism of using cryptocurrencies as legal currency only grew as a result of the El Salvador's unfortunate Bitcoin launch. In the Book of Crypto, a book that was just released, Henri Arslanian writes that, however, it is arguable that organizations like the World Bank and the IMF have a disproportionately significant influence on small nations seeking to gain more authority over their currencies. They can exert pressure by either making assistance conditional or by outright denying aid to nations that fail to meet their demands. For instance, when El Salvador accepted Bitcoin as legal currency, the World Bank, a different lending organization within the United Nations system, condemned the decision and declined to offer technical support, citing issues with transparency and the environment. Natural adversaries. Given that non-governmental organizations like the World Bank and the IMF are generally mandated to assist global financial stability and promote economic growth in developing nations, there may naturally exist some tension with regard to decentralized currencies, which become frequently unstable and difficult to manage financial instruments with no fixed location or even identifiable representatives. Tall pointed out that the IMF truly has no motive to establish another issuerless currency because it is frequently called upon to assist the economies that are troubled by corrupt and incompetent leadership as well as illusory currencies. The IMF cannot overlook the fact that cryptocurrencies will dominate our future. That's it for our today's video. So, what can you say about the news? Let us know about it in the comments section down below. Thanks for tuning in to CryptoLink. We are always excited to provide you with news and updates about cryptocurrency, and if you like this video, please click the like button. See you on the next one.